Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe.
So today we will read from Caitanya Caritamrita. We will go into the chapter 8, the talks between Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. So I will read, and if sometime I feel I need to say something, I will say, but please do not hesitate to share whenever you feel to share something. Stop me and you share. Whenever comes in your heart. So we will read just the verses from Caitanya Caritamrita. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gauranga, is the ocean of all conclusive knowledge in devotional service. He empowered Sri Ramananda Roy, who may be likened to a cloud of devotional service. This cloud was filled with water of all the conclusive purports of devotional service, and was empowered by the ocean to spread this water over the sea of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Thus the ocean of Caitanya Mahaprabhu became filled with the jewels of the knowledge of pure devotional service. All glories to Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Acharya. And all glories to all the devotees of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. According to his previous program, Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu went forward on his tour, and after some days arrived at the place of pilgrimage known as Jiyada Nrisimha. Upon seeing the deity of Lord Nrisimha in the temple, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu offered his respectful obeisances by falling flat. Then, in ecstatic love, he performed various dances, chanted, and offered prayers. He was telling, all glories to Nrisimhadev, all glories to Nrisimhadev, who is the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj, and like a honey bee, is always engaged in beholding the lotus-like face of the goddess of fortune. Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrisimha is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. So like that he was praying. In this way, Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu recited different verses from the Shastra in front of the Nrisimhadev. The priest of Lord Nrsimhadev then brought garlands and the remnants of the Lord's food and offered them to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Arjuna offered Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu an invitation. The Lord passed the night in the temple and then commenced his tour again. Here is nicely mentioning that, for example, Nrsimhadev, he so much loved his devotee Prahlad. And I believe all of us, in our relationship with our Ishtadev, we can see and feel how much we are loved by our Ishtadev. That through many, many situations, through many events, we can feel that love. We can feel the guidance. I can only talk, of course, from my own experience. And when I look back on my life and all the events, good or quote unquote bad ones, actually all those events were so much important. And we can understand through those events that we were guided, and guided by love, by Radhika. Because if those events wouldn't happen, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in this family. So if somebody would ask me today, would you change something? No. Yeah, some events were very painful, but I would not change them because that would take me in another direction. So I believe that we can see love from our Ishtadev even through bad times, so quote unquote bad times. There is no good and bad times. All is actually in a way good for us, because my belief, my feeling is that we are always guided, that our Ishtadev always takes us by our hand, and that we are guided to the right person, to our Gurudev, and through Gurudev we are guided. Gurudev holding our hand together with Radhika and actually guiding us step by step, each step closer to them, closer to our Ishtadev. And we should see our life as always guided by our Ishtadev. The next morning, in the great ecstasy of love, Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu started on his tour with no knowledge of the proper direction, and he continued the whole day and night. As previously Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu converted to Vaishnavism, many people he met on the road. So he met many people on the road. After some days, the Lord reached the banks of the river Godavari. When he saw the river Godavari, the Lord remembered the river Yamuna. And when he saw the forest on the banks of the river, he remembered Shri Vrindavan Dham. Wow, this is so nice, that Gauranga showed us actually in a way that we can always remember Vrindavan, we can always remember Radhika through everything. I remember we're traveling with devotees from Zagreb to Belgrade, And there is one part next to the highway with the forest and the fields. There are many cows always. And I remember that because we were so totally in car, in ecstasy, singing Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. So we were singing, and then on the right, we saw that forest with the cows, so beautiful. And immediately what we remembered? Of course, Vrindavan. So, and this, our feelings grew immediately because of remembering. We know what is the most important process, and that is smarana. Remembering, thinking about Radha and Krishna, or our Ishtadev, Radha Mohan, whoever however is called your Ishtadev. And remembering, so sometimes it's transport company, but it's called Varshan. And every time we travel on the highway, we see the trucks that have big letters Varshan. And there is also one tourist agency called Radhika. So we see also those buses with the label Radhika. So this always of course reminds us of Varshana and reminds us of Radhika. So these are just like examples with the direct remembrance, but sometimes we can see some color. For example, we see the golden color, and it reminds us of Radhika. Like 4 days ago or 3 days ago, we were in Radhakund, and after taking bath, we were sitting on the bank of the Radhakund, and there we saw all around us flying like those dragonflies, but not any dragonflies, but golden color dragonflies. And this was, of course, who you will remember, you know. We were immediately remembering Radhika, like her color. Yeah. So, color, smell. When I go in my town, outside of Vrindavan, and when I smell some incense, we would immediately remember Vrindavan. Oh, and just one more anecdote from my city. Mahaprabhu and me one day walked in the town, and I heard from far, far away, we heard a flute, but like Bansuri flute, far, far away. And I said, wow, like Krishna's flute, you know? And where is Krishna? There is probably Radhika, you know? And we went in that direction, and then we saw one person who was playing Bansuri flute in the middle, in the center of the town, totally dressed like some Indian sadhu. And this was, wow, for us, incredible. And when we came to him, I gave him some donation, and when I put the money, he like that, so happily jumped and made a face that totally reminded me of my Giriraj. My Ishtadev is Radhika and Krishna in my Giriraj. And like, I would say half confused, half, impressed. And we're thinking, this is Giriraj making some play us, you know? Play. So like that, we need to be open to see our Ishtadev everywhere, to remember. And like that, some small events, but they can bring up the feelings which we connect with our Ishtadev. Because we know 24 hours a day That's our goal. To be with our Ishtadev 24 hours. So, in one way, in Sadhaka Deha, this is also our practice. That everything reminds us. So that's why devotees at home, in their homes, put the photos. They have the deities. They have they make all the environment in that way to always remind them of their Ishtadev. Anybody have their own experience maybe when you were reminded of your Ishtadev? If you want to share. Okay, then we'll continue. After performing his usual chanting and dancing for some time in this forest, the Lord crossed the river and took his bath on the other bank. After bathing in the river, the Lord walked a little distance from the bathing place and engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna. At that time, accompanied by the sounds of music, Ramananda Roy came there on a palanquin to take his bath. Many Brahmanas, following the Vedic principles, accompanied Ramananda Roy. According to the Vedic rituals, Ramananda Roy took his bath and offered oblations to his forefathers. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that the person who had come to bathe in the river was Ramananda Roy. The Lord wanted so much to meet him that his mind immediately began running after him. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was running after him mentally, he patiently remained sitting. Ramananda Roy, seeing the wonderful sannyasi, then came to see him. Sometime in life, it is interesting that when we so strongly think about, even if we are not going to that person, so often happens that this person calls us or we meet this person. And Gauranga here was running after him mentally. So much he wanted to meet him that he was already thinking about this meeting. He was already meeting him in his mind. And Ramananda Roy saw him and was attracted and wanted to come. Srila Ramananda Roy then saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be as brilliant as 100 suns. The Lord was covered by a saffron garment. He was large in body and very strongly built, and his eyes were like lotus petals. When Ramananda Roy saw the wonderful sannyasi, he was struck with wonder. He went to him and immediately offered his respectful obeisances, falling down flat like a rod, like a stick, rod. The Lord stood up and asked Ramananda Roy to arise and chant the holy name of Krishna. Indeed, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was very eager to embrace him. This always melts my heart, this embrace. How Gauranga and Nityananda, how they were sharing this love by embracing everyone. Please don't share.
I don't remember where it's written about.
Also,
I don't remember. No, it's like this. Okay. Even it's like this. It must be like. I don't remember where I read it. This shloka. It's written. It's perfection for the eyes to see Vaishnava, perfection to the body to touch Vaishnava. And I remember one devotee, I think many of you know him, his name Bhagavatamrita. I met him 1 year ago here. And then he embraced me. If you're eating something after some test coming, after his embracement, I feel test. My heart become more melted and Harikatha causing more emotions. So for which I'm eager to receive such embracement. It's like he is embraced by his Babas. Oh, Bhagavatamrita, one devotee from South America, I think. So brother is from South America. Bhagavatamrita.
I know some other Bhagavatamrita from Macedonia. I don't know this one. About whom you speak more.
Anyway.
But it's interesting story.
For one more example about embracement from Mahaprabhu, this is what Maharaj Prataparudra received. He was so eager to receive personal darshan from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Ramananda Raya was his Shiksha Guru for this. He taught him what to do, and he arranged so many things to make this happen, make this possible. Then Mahaprabhu was took rest in a garden, Jagannatha Vatika, it's called, this garden in Jagannatha-puri, in the middle of Rath Yatra. He was completely immersed in Radha Bhavas in this moment. Prataparudra was dressed in simple clothes, like simple person, not like king. And he was taught by Prataparudra Maharaj Gopi Gita. And because Ramananda knows the mood of Mahaprabhu, and he taught him, Maharaj Prabhupada, what to pronounce, how to make please, how to support the mood of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu was so grateful. He taught Buridajana's end of night shloka. Buridajana means magnanimous, so magnanimous. You gave me so much. And he stood up and embraced. I think I'm thinking from that time when I heard this, like how much mercy Maharaj Prataparudra received in this moment. What kind of bhava he received in this moment.
Thank you. Thank you.
And one more, how Gurudev embraced me. It's very important for the disciple. Because when he returned from hospital, I remember he had a strong cough. And then he returned from hospital. So many devotees come to meet him at the gate. And first person was Jananda Maharaj. I was not so clever how to do it. When Gurudev will see me, I stood aside and he just walked away. And I was so unhappy. And then I understood, because he is looking forward, who is just in front of him. And when he came to outer room, I just sit down at his photo sheet. And he saw me, and then he embraced me. And I thought, okay, now I understand, he loves me. Okay, good. And I want to live with him, but he not alone, he more tightly embraced. And only after this, my heart thought, yes, now I'm sure he loves me. It's very, for this was so important.
Yeah. Because embrace brings closeness, that we feel like a family. We are all hugging here because this brings us close. This family do. Family hugs. And when Guru the first time hugged me, I said this story many times already. Because at that time I was on the edge to leave everything. And when he hugged me, I melted. Because this was, for me, like confirmation. Oh, you belong to this family. I was totally surprised. Now this became normal because this is the way. Because I immediately remembered at that moment of Nityananda and Gauranga, how they did, how they shared love, how they showed to others that they are important and that they didn't care from which background they are coming. Yeah, they had problems, let's say problems, that somebody was angry at them while they were hugging Shudras or even lower than Shudras. And they would say, who is Shudra? Who is Chandala? You know? Who is that? Oh, they said Haribol. They are already above that, all that. You know? They didn't care. And this is also one great point which we repeat many times, but I always think it's important that we understand that Radhika doesn't count our faults. We are learning. We are learning to love. We are learning to be manjaris. How to do that. And we can always know the small child. Parent wouldn't be angry if child is learning to walk and fails. What parent would do? Encourage. Encourage. Come on. I will help you. I will hold your hands. Let's walk together until you learn. Then you can walk alone. And the mentality of child is, child falls, and then child says, oh, I will never walk, and then I don't want to try anymore. Is that true?
No.
No, of course not. Yeah. The child, what child does? Stands up, tries to stand up, and maybe stands up and try again. Falls, yes. Then what child do? Stand up and do again. And parent takes care, helps. Sometimes it leaves to try alone, of course, because if always holding hands, then child will learn just like that to walk. But hands in beginning are important. That's why Gurudev holding our hand towards Radhika, guiding us, navigating us, that one day we can walk on our own 2 feet, manjari feet. That's the point. And the beginning is this embrace that is important, that we feel that we are this family. Like, you know, how much is important when the child is born to get that first embrace from his mother. This is so much important. This was scientifically proven that that first connection between a child and the mother is so much important. So in that way, our connection grows through like that contact. So we saw that Nityananda and Gauranga, they both embraced people around. And in many stories, you can see that those even who were not maybe in direct physical contact, but they felt embraced by them, by their presence. So Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu then inquired whether he was Ramananda Roy. And he replied, yes, I am your very low servant, and I belong to the Shudra community. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Sri Ramananda Roy very firmly, strongly. You are mine, like that. He embraced him so strongly. Indeed, both the master and the servant almost lost consciousness due to ecstatic love. Wow. This is also, in one way, our life with our Ishtadev. We want to embrace our Ishtadev, but my belief is that our Ishtadev also wants to embrace us. Because their love is so much bigger than our love towards them. So much. And when this embrace truly happens, I believe we will all feel to become unconscious from these strong emotions.
I have interesting experience. It happened with me. 2001, we organized festival for Shivananda Samaraj close to Moscow, and I was Pujari. And in one moment, I need to take Shri Radhanand Hari and Chandgol Hari to the outer room, and I did it like this. First time in my life, I embraced them. It was not consciously. It just happened because I need to bring them to outer room. And I feel so much bliss in this moment. So much bliss. It was, for me, very interesting experience.
So it's, yeah. When we feel in our heart this, somebody can embrace them and not feel nothing. But the point is, our feelings, when we go with feelings into this, then our feelings are multiplied through their feelings. And we can feel so much love coming from them.
I want to continue this story.
Yeah.
So I just remember the continuation of this story. I think I was so happy because they was happy. I did it because of service. But at the end of the festival, I remembered how much happiness I experienced. I tried to again do this due to my happiness. It's not happened. Again, did it, it's not happened.
Yeah.
Because it's other mood, other motivation.
Yeah, this is good point, because I know I love Radhakund so much, and every time, first time when I come to Radhakund, I break, and I can just come to the edge, just start to see Radhakund, and I'm finished. I'm crying, I'm finished. But the next day I come, it's not like that. Why? This is one point in connected with this, like Vipralamba will say, when we are together and when we are separated. Like, I wasn't here for 5 years. I see the photos of Radhakund and I remember Radhakund, but when I come directly to Radhakund, it's a totally different story. But the point is, now I'm here, so I'm not anymore separated, and I am happy, but it's not the power of the meeting. Like Radha and Krishna, separation helps to even grow the feelings even more. So when they meet, this is explosion of emotions. Also, we can feel that in even mundane, these worldly emotions. But in their case, it's separation, and then Manjaris are working to help them again connect. But the separation is also important to grow the feelings. Because if we are in the same energy, sometimes we can get a habit. And in my case, how I felt it, we take some things for granted. Like when two persons are in a relationship and they live together, they can take each other for granted. And in that moment, sometimes maybe they will not put an effort in the relationship. But when they are sometime apart, then they start to miss each other. And they are awaiting the meeting. And when the meeting comes, their emotions grow even more. And they will put an effort more to connect even better. Somewhere, you know that with Radha and Krishna, like their love, it is said that their love is always fresh and new, like first meeting every time, but always better and better, always new. And somewhere I heard, like in this world relationship, partners, friends, family, whoever you have the relationship with, if you always act as you acted in the beginning of the relationship, there will be no end. Meaning, especially in couples, in the beginning of relationship, like, for example, just real here, like, wife says to husband, "Oh, please, can you take out the trash?" And the husband, "Oh, yes, happily taking out the trash, yeah." Taking out the trash. After 10 years, "Can you please take out the trash?" "What? I'm not your janitor. You take out the trash," yeah? You know. But the point is that if we have the feelings and grow the feelings we felt in that moment, for example, in a relationship in this world, there will be no end of like that relationship. So it's naturally to see that with Radha and Krishna, it is always fresh. And in this, Vikralamba, they are quote unquote suffering in separation. But this suffering, so-called suffering, it's there, important to grow this feeling. We know that Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy know each other from before, from previous incarnations. But now when they meet, Gauranga was anxious to hug Ramananda Roy. So when he finally hugged him, his emotions burst. Not just his, Ramananda Roy's and Gauranga's, both. And they almost fall unconscious together. Wow. So beautiful. So why? Why this happened? It says next. Their natural love for each other was awakened in them both. Natural love.
Srimananda Swami Maharaj, commenting this verse, he told, why natural love? Because who is Mahaprabhu? Radha. Because Radha moves dominating. Even Krishna. But who is Ramananda? Vishaka. They eat only together. It's natural love. So Radha Vishaka is very close because she was born in the same day. It means she has same nature. What is why now Mahaprabhu came to Ramananda? Why? Because he has so much feelings, but he needs someone who will help him. I'm just repeating Harikatha from Maharaj. He needs someone who will help him to do with these things.
Yes. So they embraced and fell to the ground. When they embraced each other, ecstatic symptoms, paralysis, perspiration, tears, shivering, paleness, and standing up of the bodily hairs appear. You can just imagine how this looks. Yeah, they are like they hug each other and all the symptoms at the same time coming. The word Krishna came from their mouths falteringly. It's difficult. No? It's like because they couldn't say it. Difficult to pronounce, yeah, because
Gada.
yeah.
It's shocked.
Shocked, yeah.
Why? Because both have love for Krishna.
Yeah, both are love. When the stereotyped ritualistic brahmanas who were following the Vedic principles saw this ecstatic manifestation of love, they were struck with wonder. All these brahmanas began to reflect as follows. The brahmanas thought, we can see that this sannyasi has a luster like the effulgence of Brahman, but how is he crying upon embracing a Shudra, a member of the fourth caste in this social order? They thought, this Ramananda Roy is the governor of Madras, a highly learned and grave person, a Mahapandita. But upon touching this sannyasi, he has become restless like a madman.
Is it good to make a little bit to explain who is Kayastha? It's Ramananda, he belongs to Kayastha. How to say? Brahmanas.
Okay, caste.
Caste, yeah, Kayastha caste.
Mhm.
Kayastha caste, it periods from them, then not Brahman and Brahmin. Then Brahman and, for example, from Kshatriya family, lady. Then it's appearing Kayastha. And because it's going beyond of custom, other societal Brahmanas, they give like punishment. They're not accepting a high position with Brahmana, and they tell him, now you're Shudra, you behave like Shudra. But it's not, he really nice educated, nice behavior, his behavior very nice. He has position of a ruler, it's Kshatriya, and he has education as a Brahmana. It's not Shudra, he's not Shudra. His behavior and his knowledge, it's not Shudra, it's not Shudra.
Yes.
Actually, I'm not telling he's Vaishnava, of course, I'm moreover.
Of course. While the Brahmanas were thinking in this way about the activities of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw those outsiders and restrained his transcendental emotions. This is, in my experience, that our emotions can be a lot stronger when we are alone with our Ishtadev. When we are alone with our Ishtadev, our emotions can be much stronger.
Inspiration. Inspiration.
Meaning, like, my experience when I'm alone, and there are no other person, alone means me and my Ishtadev. That means, yeah,
so
okay. Yeah, of course. Alone meaning me and my Ishtadev, or thinking about my Ishtadev. But when I'm not surrounded by other people, I feel that my emotions are more easily, manifested than when there are other people around. It's not always the case. This depends who are other people around us. In this case, we can see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Gauranga saw these outsiders who were thinking from their point of view, ritualistic point of view, and caste point of view. But when we are surrounded with like-minded devotees, then emotions can grow more. But my experience was that the strongest emotions I had when I was alone. This is my experience. That this usually means that we can maybe relax more. Like we can allow the emotions more easily when we are alone. So that's why bhajan, our personal bhajan, it's always good to be alone. We also know that all the Goswamis and today Babajis who are present, they all have their own bhajan kutir. Bhajan kutir is a place where they did their bhajan. And there are stories of some who are even doing some, let's say, crazy things just to escape from people. Everybody knows about Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. He was doing chanting in toilet. And when they asked him why, because everybody was disturbing him. Yeah. Sometimes some devotees can outsidely act irrational, crazy, but this is a disguise. Just that others will not disturb him. Some will escape into caves. We know so many stories. And some went for many years into caves just to have their peace. That's why it's good to have, for example, at home, it's good to have one place for your bhajan. And it's good that this is maybe the same place. Why? Because in that place, and you create the atmosphere in which you can easily enter into your bhajan. It can be your maybe part where is your deities, if you have the deities, or you have some photos there which remind you, and you can easily dive into your meditation, into your bhajan. But one place, because there is also the energy of the place. For example, we know bedroom is for sleeping, and all psychologists will say that the bedroom should be only for sleeping. If you are using the bedroom that you do work from there or some other activities, then in that room will not be just one energy which is for sleeping. That's why it's good that that room is for one purpose. Or if it's the apartment that it's connected, everything, then this part of the room that is for this activity. So that you have your part, your bhajan kutir, your bhajan place. When you sit there, you immediately enter into that energy. So this is good. This is good practice to have like that place. And this naturally comes because when energy is in the air, and many times you also probably felt it, that you come to some part of the house or some place and you start remembering some song suddenly, or something, you think about something, but you are asking from where this came, this thought. But the point is that other person who was maybe standing just few minutes before here and was thinking about that, left the emotion in the air. Like today morning, I was standing here in the room next to the bathroom and started to think about one event from yesterday from Radhakund, and in details I was thinking how this was mercy and many things, and I just started to talk to Mahaprabhu about this, what I'm thinking, And I just started, and she said, I was just standing there and was thinking that, and that. I didn't say all what I was thinking, but she said same things what I was thinking. This didn't happen all. This was something happened, but my thinking process was that I was thinking about what this means. And she was thinking the same just a few minutes before on the same place standing. So this is just one example. But the point here is your bhajan kutir, your place where you sit and you are there in energy of bhajan. When you have your place of work, you sit there and you are easily going to the work. For example, behind a computer or whatever you do in your life. That your energy is there, connected with the activity that you do there. So try this. Try to designate one place where you come, sit, and you enter into bhajan. And try to use the same place. And you will see how in one place the energy will grow. Well, what's the time, please?
20 to 6.
Okay, still have time. One more anecdote. In Iskon Farm in Hungary, they totally recreated Vrindavan there. Totally, I mean, they have all the places and names and Radha Kund, Shyama Kund. Yeah, they have everything made there. And there was one devotee. Her name was Radha Kund. Her name was Radha Kund. And she was a nice, really nice devotee. What context? Yeah, I know. So I never knew her. Mahaprabhu one time met her, but she was after some time sick and left her body. And when we arrived there, and we came to her house, and we sat on the side of the house, a room where she was living and doing her bhajan, and where she left the body also. What a strong energy was there. You could feel it so much. And then we asked, wow, what is this energy here? And then they told us what was this place. Like, we could feel that this place was like a portal to the spiritual world. Like that was feeling strongly, so much, this place. And two devotees that time, before she left body, were both sick. Both had cancer. And the story is that they talked and said, who first goes will appear to the other person or somehow show her the sign how it was. Yeah. And she left. He got better, but she didn't, and she left her body. And after some months, he was dreaming that somebody was knocking on his door, and he opened the door, and there was a small girl in front of his door. And he was asking, who are you? And she said, oh, you don't remember me. Oh, okay, wait. She changed into that Radha Kund. Oh, it's you. And he asked her, oh, can you tell me how it was? And she said, oh, I was just carried. She was just taken and carried. And now she's a small girl. Can be Manjari. No? Small and beautiful, though, like Manjari. But she said to him, oh, I was just... And this is just one of the stories, but there are many examples, and that also gives us, our Ishtadev wants to hug us, wants us, and we want our Ishtadev. So there is no problem. we just continue to come closer and closer. And as we're coming closer, our feelings of wanting that hug, they grow. And when this finally happens, we are there. We are home.
It sounds for me like steps for not timing, concentration on the own nature. And then also we can call this purity, because nothing can other, no other doubts, no other natures. It's in this case it's high in particular function, in particular what we're doing. In this place I'm cooking, in this place I'm taking prasadam, in this place I'm sleeping, in this place I'm doing bhajan. And every day it's growing. Each place, everywhere it's high, growing. And same thing also to say about time. This time I'm doing this time I'm doing this, every day. And then this time coming, some desire coming back to do this again. Because of the impression working according to time and what in English
Circumstances.
Impression is very ruling the behavior. I could not calculate always by my intelligence how to behave in this case or other case, but impression doing this unconsciously. If it is always in this one time I'm doing something, and then this time coming again is initially I want to do this.
So when they regained their sanity, they both sat down. And Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and began to speak as follows. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya spoke of your good qualities, and he made a great endeavor to convince me to meet you. Like he was, maybe he was acting that for me to try better to convince me, but he wanted to meet, as we understand from the previous part. He wanted to meet with Ramananda Raya. Indeed, I have come here just to meet you. It is very good that even without making an effort, I have gotten your interview here. Ramananda Raya replied. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thinks of me as his servant. Even in my absence, he is very careful to do me good. Yeah? You see here. He thinks of him as his servant, but he is thinking of his wellness, to do good to him. By his mercy, I have received your interview here. Consequently, I consider that today I have become a successful human being. I can see that you have bestowed special mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Therefore, you have touched me, although I am untouchable. This is due only to his love for you. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan himself, and I am only a government servant interested in materialistic. I am the lowest among men of the fourth caste. You do not fear the Vedic injunctions stating that you should not associate with a Shudra. You were not contemptuous of my touch, although in the Vedas you are forbidden to associate with Shudras, meaning because he is from a Brahmana and you shouldn't associate with Shudras. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Therefore, no one can understand your purpose. By your mercy, you are touching me, although this is not sanctioned by the Vedas. This is so much how we can understand. I mean, he is above Vedas. Gauranga is above Vedas. And the point is, in this case, Vedas are talking about the material body. They are all born in different families, and so they belong to some different caste. But Gauranga saw them, who they are, and accepted everybody. He saw on that level. That's why Nityananda, when they would say, when he hugged some, and Brahmanas would be angry, oh, why are you hugging a Shudra? You're a Brahmana. Nityananda would say, who is Shudra? Who is Brahmana? Where do you see those? You know? Where do you see those? And he would hug them again. Yeah. Because love doesn't see that distinction. Love doesn't see that distinction. Like, we are here in one family from all around the world. Even some countries are in war. But here we are a family. We don't have that distinctions. There are no distinctions here. Political, national, religious, of course, because we are in same belief and we are going in the same way. But here also are accepted people of different rasas. It's not just that we have in family those who are just in Manjari rasa. We have our Hanuman, who is Ram Bhakta, but he's totally accepted. He's part of the family. We have devotees who are in Vatsalya rasa. And Gurudev said, they are our elders. They need to take care of us. We are children, small manjaris. So they need to take care of us. But everybody is accepted. So, like that.
From different villages, and saw how one couple, Christians, came to him. I remember one couple of Christians came to here. They stayed here 1 month. Buddha gave them so much respect, so much love. At the end, they asked about initiation. But you have got not his life. But they was Christian, and Buddha spoke with them about Jesus. About Mary Magdalena, what he's told us before about how he saw what is the relationship with his father and what it is really about, like this.
Of course. Because he can see this. This is also love. Jesus was teaching love. So, but in this case, we can see that Gauranga didn't see this. And in that way, he was going, let's say, against the Vedas. We can say it above the Vedas. Because he was seeing from different eyes. And Ramananda Roy understood this. And he said, next, they're saying, you have come here specifically to deliver me. You are so merciful that you alone can deliver all fallen souls. It is the general practice of all saintly people to deliver the fallen. Therefore, they go to people's houses, although they have no personal business there. My dear Lord, sometimes great saintly persons go to the homes of householders, although these householders are generally low-minded. When a saintly person visits their homes, one can understand that it is for no other purpose than to benefit the householders. Along with me, there are about 1,000 men, including the Brahmanas, and all of them appear to have had their hearts melted simply by seeing you. Gauranga's effulgence was melting everyone around. His love was not, he couldn't contain that love inside, because his love is so strong. His love is radical. So he couldn't hold it inside, so it was spreading in all directions. I hear everyone chanting the holy names of Krishna. Everyone's body is thrilled with ecstasy, and there are tears in everyone's eyes. Wow. When we feel the love of our Ishtadev, in this case Gauranga, they felt the love, they felt connection, and their bodies, they can't control their bodies in that moment. They start shaking, and the eyes cry, but tears of love. Love becomes like liquid love falling from the eyes. That's that feeling we want to feel in connection with our Ishta. Feel the feeling outside and inside, and finally to see them in our bhajan, to be with them, to embrace them, and that they embrace us. I love when Gurudev was explaining the Maha Mantra, how in first part of the Maha Mantra, we are watching them and they are embracing together. Radha and Krishna, Radha Mohan, they are embracing. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Radha, and we are watching Radha and Krishna embracing. But in the second part, they are also embracing us. And this was for me, wow. When I first time, like in 2015, or even before, I heard from Guru this explanation like that. I remember that from that time, when Guru was talking, every lecture we were crying because we never listened like this. Listening philosophy. Vedas have so much philosophy. There are so many shastras. We could spend lives just reading without understanding, just that we read continuously. And that's why Gurudev is saying just two shastra, Vilapa Kusumanjali and Radha Rasa Sudhamani. When we understand those, when we go deep into those, we will understand all these other shastras. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. We will understand. But first, we need to go deep. Vilapa Kusumanjali, Radha Rasa Sudhamani. To feel. And I heard, when I was in Radhakund 3 days ago, that when we read Vilapa Kusumanjali, at first we should feel the cry of Ramananda's son. Yeah? We should feel his cry. We should feel his cry and then read the text. Because he was crying. He was crying in separation because he was in his meditation serving Radha. He was there, feeling the emotions. And then when the vision was stopped, he could feel so much separation. And that's that. To feel the separation, there must be a meeting. Without a meeting, it's difficult to have the feelings of separation. So, in a way, devotee, he's getting the glimpses, getting some feelings of connection when they're in sadhak there. And these feelings are growing through time, and the devotee starts to feel more and more separation and wants to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then we come to have revealed Siddhadeha. And then again go slowly deeper and deeper and deeper into these feelings and bhajan. And everybody would love this to happen immediately, but it takes time because we were not learned material life in one day. And material programs, material thinking. So it takes time to remove those barriers, to melt with love those barriers, that we can go deeper and deeper into our body. And this is something what I feel I learned during my visit this time to Vrindavan. I feel I came here, oh, I want to see you, Radhika, now, here, in some way. I don't know how, you know how. But what I got through this stay here, maybe I'm still 1 week, I don't know what will happen. Yeah, but until now, I got this feeling that we need to be also patient, but in other way, they say also we should forget the patience, but patience in a way that we believe in the process and that we every day go into our bhajan, see that we always have the place, even when we are not sitting in meditation, that we always have the place in our minds, in our hearts, where our Ishtadev can dance. If we have our mind occupied by other things, there is no place for them to dance. So let's leave a place for them where they can always dance in our minds. Especially when we go into bhajan, when we sit, when we relax into bhajan, let's allow them that they can manifest. Allow them. There is no force, no forcing. Allow them to manifest in your hearts and in your mind. Thank you.
You remind me that once I heard how one sadhu from Babaji on the bank of the Radhakunda crying in separation in Kolkata. And I heard it. It's so pitiful and it's melting heart. And because in this cry so much Radha is present, and her heart immediately wants to run towards this and found him. But in that moment I couldn't want. I was in Parikrama. But it was so touching heart. Something amazing. Yes.
Radha. So this is for today. If somebody wants to share something, please do. If not, that's it for today. Just go into your bhajan and remember that have your place of bhajan in your house. Try this. This is good practice.
Because their husband follows on the picture and breaks.
Oh, very nice. And Gurudev's embrace, it's always special. And what I learned that sometimes embrace is enough. No words needed. All becomes clear. Radhe, Radhe.
When you describe this so when you describe the energy, when you went to I don't know where did some Radha,
yes,
at the body, and like it's this like similar energy like in the whole small. Like so strong.
Well, sometimes there are sometimes places like that. It's not always depending. Because what I noticed that many people are coming to Gurudev, and I will not. They are sharing everything, meaning they are sharing some things which are not in the mood, I would say, and sometimes this energy also stays there. So it can be mixed. But when the sharing there goes fully in Manjari sharing, then you can feel it. Then the flow goes naturally so much.
It also it's dependent. Maybe I wrong, but I think it depends on what Gurudev is doing now. One thing is he's observed. Other thing, when he is discussing something with us, some even problems, it's maybe not spiritual. Yes, it's helping in a way it's here. I remember when it was recently Gaura Purnima, seated there, spoke, singing, in outer room, and I feel so much. He's like generator, so much energy coming from him. His heart is detecting so much energy coming from here. He's energizing everything, everyone.
Yes. Radhe. So see you next time.
Radhe Radhe Go